So if you've been playing Legion Remix and you've been getting in some dungeons or some raids and you've been noticing that some of the players do some ridiculously high damage, it's probably because they're utilizing one mechanic that you may have not been focusing on. And this is a mechanic that will massively increase the amount of infinite power you can gain. Now, if you're newer to Legion Remix or haven't played a lot, infinite power is the currency that you use for your artifact weapon to continuously upgrade it. Because after you've gotten all the starting nodes and gone through the tree from your artifact weapon, you will then get to the limits unbound node that is essentially an infinite power scaling node. Every rank of this costs 50,000 infinite power and will give you 1% versatility, and it will give you an increase to your agility and stamina. And the versatility is actually a really massive part of this, but that is a lot of infinite power to even get one rank of this infinite power node. But farming up a ton of infinite power, especially this early on, is going to come down to one thing: how much infinite knowledge you have, which is the main system you really need to be focusing on until you have it capped out. Now, infinite knowledge is a permanent scaling increase to the amount of infinite power you will obtain anytime you gain infinite power. If you want to see how much of this you have, go to your currency tab, and under time running, there'll be a little book and you'll see how much infinite knowledge you can get. Now, it seems that during the entirety of the Legion Remix event, the cap is going to be 36. Now, you can get somewhat close to this cap in the first phase of Legion Remix, but I don't think you could get the whole 36. But you can get a lot of this, and every new point you get of infinite knowledge increases your infinite power gains on all characters, because this is shared across your entire account. So let's say we're further into Legion Remix and you have 36 infinite knowledge and you go create a new character. That new character will just get absurd infinite knowledge from absolutely anything. And the scaling of this gets absolutely ridiculous, and that's the main reason you want to be focusing on this. Now, the main ways you're going to obtain infinite knowledge is through achievements. You'll get, I think, 1 or 2 points from getting your first character to level 80 and doing just some of the kind of one-time quests at the Infinite Dragonflight, but all of the other of your infinite knowledge comes from achievements. A lot of them are pretty easy, but a bunch of them are stuff that are more out of the way or more optional things that you very much should be doing and focusing on right now. Now, if you want to find how to get all of this infinite knowledge in-game, go into your achievement tab, go into the search bar, type in infinite knowledge, and then click enter. This will bring up a new window that shows you every achievement that will give you infinite knowledge. Now, you notice that some of these you can't actually do yet, and that's because of the phased nature of Legion Remix, where every 2 weeks we essentially get another major patch from Legion. So some of the stuff will be do stuff on Argus or do stuff in the Broken Isles. You can't do that stuff yet, but a majority of the other things you can do right now. Now, that's just the in way to do it, but if you want to do it in a bit more of an easy way, I'll have a link in the description to the Completionism website. This is essentially a website that allows you to very easily track different things in World of Warcraft, and there is a section specific to Legion Remix. So on this website, you essentially just type in your server and your character, and after you've done that, you can go down to the left, and there will be this little section that says focus, just do rewards infinite knowledge, and this will show you every single thing you can do in Legion Remix to earn infinite knowledge. And at the top, it'll tell you how much you have out of how much total infinite knowledge there is to get. It'll show you a percentage, and you'll just very easily be able to scroll through all of this and just see everything you can possibly do to get infinite knowledge. It'll tell you your progress on this. So it's just very easy to do on this website instead. Now, there is more than 36 total things in Legion Remix to do to get infinite knowledge, but again, I don't think you're able to currently get the cap of 36, but again, you can get pretty close, and this will be the thing you can do to get the most amount of power. Even outside of doing the most optimal things to get gear, getting your infinite knowledge will massively increase your power, because again, getting infinite power, which is massively buffed through infinite knowledge, is essentially infinite in how much power you can actually obtain. Now, if you've just started out in Legion Remix and you don't have a level 80 character, what I'd recommend doing is stay queued for dungeons at pretty much all times. Unless you're a healer, healers get infinite queues, so I'd probably recommend saving that for later. But if you're a DPS or a tank, you'll probably have like 8 to 10 minute queues at most times. So stay in queues for dungeons, because there are achievements to do pretty much all the dungeons on all the difficulties that will give infinite power. And then quest. Any quest in the game, any side quests in the zones, any of the main quest lines in the zones, even doing any of the quests in Suramar, doing any of your order hall quests, all of that stuff leads to achievements that will give you more infinite power. So just pretty much complete every quest in Legion. Now, it's probably best to just go do all of the main quests throughout all of the zones and pick up and complete all of the side quests as well. And once you're done with that, you can then later focus on the Suramar quest lines and your order hall quests. Now, if you want to get infinite knowledge capped, some of those quest lines and things are things you can skip, because there are more ways to get infinite knowledge than you can actually get to. But at these early stages of Legion Remix, I generally just recommend do everything you possibly can, and questing and doing pretty much every quest in this expansion is going to be a pretty big part of that this early on. And outside of that, you'll probably be at level 80, and you could just go to this checklist and choose whatever else you want to do. And also keep in mind, you can split this up between characters. What I've been doing is, since you can actually level up very quickly, and you won't need to do all of the quests in all the zones to get a character to 80, you'll probably only need to do like 1 or 1.5. What I've been doing is I just do one zone completely on one character. So after I've done one zone on one character, it'll be pretty high level or even level 80, and I'll just jump on another character and do a whole different zone on that character. And you get to choose what zone you actually go to for the main quest line, so you can very easily do that on new characters as well. But that's just personally how I'm doing it. If you want to go through on one character, you can do that as well. But focus on infinite knowledge this early on in Legion Remix. It will give you absurd gains. And if you want to min-max even a little bit more while you're leveling up, or more specifically when you're leveling up your first character, you can also start to queue up and do raids even at lower levels. Now, I think you do have to get to like 25 or something close to that for the first raid, and then you have to keep leveling up to unlock the second raid as well. But you can do the LFR versions, and you can find groups to do the normal versions of those. Those are going to be pretty easy and pretty quick. Doing those does give you more infinite knowledge. They're also just really good for infinite power in general. So I'd recommend also at least queuing up for LFR when you can start to do it, while leveling up and questing, while also being in queue for any dungeons you want to be doing as well. And also, after you've done your first dungeon of that day on that character, I would generally recommend you just go through and queue for singular dungeons that you haven't done, because if you just keep queuing randomly, you'll probably get some copies of dungeons. And for infinite knowledge specifically, you just want to go through and complete all of the dungeons. And that's probably the most you're going to be able to do to min-max while leveling up a character. You can also jump into heroic world tier at probably like 25 to 30. That's generally when you'll be strong enough to start to get into heroic world tier. And if you're just questing, it will take a bit longer in heroic world tier, but you'll get more experience because of the empowered or affixed monsters, and you'll be getting a good amount more of bronze and infinite power while leveling up. It'll just take a bit longer to specifically do things like quests, because there are some achievements specifically tied to heroic world tier, and you'll get a lot more infinite power, which there is a long list of achievements to just get more and more infinite power. But that's pretty much all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.